This is I Was 8. I'm Larry Fedoruk, and thanks for joining me on my personal journal storytelling podcast. If you enjoy the weekly episodes, some good news coming for you in the new year. But now, this week's story.
Season 4, Chapter 12, The Year 2000.
Like many people who grew up in the last half, even the last third of the 20th century, I was fascinated by the year 2000. I was 8 when I realized, holy wow, I will see the year 2000. Up till then, my biggest dream was turning 9, because turning 9 would mean there would be cake. Of course, I was also maturing, capable of deeper thoughts beyond cake, like ice cream. But no, seriously, the simple realization that birthdays happen every year, and so far I had breezed through 8 of them. Half of them I barely remembered. My 5-year plan was become a teenager, perhaps move to Riverdale and hang with Betty and Veronica. After that, drive a car. Drive a car without having to sit on my dad's lap and just steer up my grandparents' farm driveway. That would cramp my style when I started going on dates. Hi, Francine. We're going to the movies. This is my dad. I have to sit on his lap because I'm only allowed to steer. Betty and Veronica would never go for that. As you may remember, Archie had a jalopy. No point to that. I just wanted to say the word jalopy. It's a word you don't hear that much anymore. Jalopy. Great word, huh? One of my favorites when I was 8. Jalopy. Just say it to yourself. Jalopy. See what I mean? Where was I? Cake, Riverdale, jalopy. Oh, yeah. The point is, I started to think ahead. I'm 8. Let me see, my parents are, in their 30s? Grandpa is like twice their age. Uncle Walter is like 100. Hold on, Mom. Will I be alive in the year 2000? More than likely, yes. What do you mean, more than likely? Well, probably. So I might not? No, I didn't mean that. It's just, no one can predict the future. Is there school tomorrow? Yes. Based on your previous statement, how can you be so certain? Look, you'll probably, more than likely, almost certainly be alive in the year 2000. All right. I was looking more for words like no doubt about it, bank on it, sure thing, abso 100% lutely, el certanamundo, guaranteed. And normally I would just keep asking questions until I got the answer I wanted, but I could see this was going nowhere. Guess I'll go with probably. Eat my vegetables, look both ways before crossing the street, and generally limit my life-threatening activities, and that should do me well enough to make it to the year 2000. Okay, I'll stop that cheap effect. The year 2000, that's the future. I thought about it a lot. The year 2000. I'd be grown up. Maybe have kids of my own to boss around. Oh yeah, I'd boss them around for sure. But also, I'd give them all the money they wanted to buy candy. And, of course, 2000, not just a new year, but a new century. The 21st century. Of course, eventually we realized that technically that didn't start until 2001. But back then, the marker was 2000. What would life be like in the year 2000? I'll go with the obvious one, the one everyone was talking about, the flying car. By the year 2000, everyone will have a flying car. El certanamundo, no doubt about it. I'd been working on a concept vehicle myself, just here and there, I had some basic plans for a flying car, specs really, 2 things were required as I saw it. 1, it had to be a car. 2, it had to be able to fly. It's as far as I got, but I was ahead of my time. Mind you, I did kind of borrow the idea from TV. Now, no one is going to remember this, but there was a show on TV at the time, The Bob Cummings Show. Actor Robert Cummings, from movies like the original Dial M for Murder and many more. In the show, he played Bob, a pilot who flew everywhere and ended up being like a detective, and he would solve crimes and crap. Bob had an aero car. As far as I knew, it was real. It was on TV. It was an odd-looking little car, but it pulled a trailer that was folded up wings and a propeller. So if he was in a jam, like being chased by bad guys, he could just pull off into a field, attach the wings and propeller, seemed really easy and simple, and take off into the sky, leaving the bad guys on the ground scratching their head. Where did he go? Sometimes he'd buzz them and wave. Hey, fellas, me up here, the guy you were chasing. What? How did he get up there? Fantastic show. When he landed, he just folded up the wings and drove around. Wow, flying car. Why doesn't everyone have one? Flying cars are the future. Dad, can we get a flying car? I could sit on your lap and steer. No. Okay, Dad. Good discussion. We never got one. We even had a toy of it that I wanted for Christmas, but I didn't get that either. Apparently, I was the only futurist in the family. By the way, it was real. It was the Taylor Aero car technology dating back to like 1946. Also, as kids, we saw this car that you could drive right into the lake and it became a boat. Man, if you could have that boat car and it could also fly, well, you just wouldn't need anything else. Am I the only one doing the thinking around here? So I can't really take credit for the flying car idea. There was one on TV and all the other kids were talking about it too. But there were other things that even at 8, I saw ahead of my time. I was always trying to get money. Allowance, odd jobs, selling stuff, whatever I could do to put a few cents together. Because I knew first you get the money, then you get the power, and then you get the candy. Yeah, I was years ahead of Tony Montana. I remember the first time I saw Al Pacino in Scarface. I yelled out, "Hey, that's my thing!" Now, he changed candy to woman. But, same line, basically. When I wasn't dreaming about the year 2000, I was scheming about money and how to get money. I thought, if everyone in town just gave me a penny, one penny, they wouldn't even miss it. Our town, 1,000 people, I'd have $10. Actually, if everyone in Saskatchewan just gave me one penny, they wouldn't even miss it. I'd have like $10,000. Hold on. If everyone in Canada, no, the world, just gave me, basically, I invented crowdfunding. I saw the potential of it well before the year 2000 when I was 8. Crowdfunders don't even ask for money for themselves anymore. They ask for money for others, and then they take a small cut. Genius! I decided to start with my parents. Mom, can I have a penny? What do you want it for? Why are there always questions? As many dreamed about 2000, I was already inventing things for the future. For example, my room was upstairs in the house, and if I was hungry, I had to go all the way downstairs and rummage around the kitchen. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a little sliding door in my room? I could just slide it open and there would be cake, or a hot dog, or a Pepsi. So I invented the food replicator. Okay, we don't really have that yet, but I thought of it first, I'm pretty sure. How else did I see into the future? Oh yeah, in war movies, they had these walkie-talkies, and I always thought, why don't they just make them smaller, and then we could all have them and use them instead of phones? That was my idea. Also, living in a small town, we had to order some stuff from the catalog and wait for it to arrive. And I tell you, if you ordered stuff from the comic books, 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. Christmas time, the post office was overwhelmed. I always thought, why don't more people start a post office business? We could get stuff quicker. So I also invented that. Also, I was trying to get my dad to weld 2 toasters together so that we could toast 4 slices of bread all at once, and no one would have to wait for toast at breakfasts. Well, that may have already been thought of, but I was on the case early. My friends and I talked about the year 2000 a lot. Well, I talked to them about it a lot. How old will we be? Will I have a new bike by then? Will we be living in space? Space was a big deal when I was a kid. Certainly by the year 2000, we'd be living on the moon and Mars. You'll be living in Uranus. Shut up, we'll not. We, people, the world, society, were already traveling to space, so how tough could it be? Certainly by the year 2000, we'd be living up there. And Martians and Plutonians, and Jupiterians, the Venus people, the Viennese, they would be living here as well. There were some exciting times ahead. At 8, I believed that space travel by the year 2000 would be as easy as going to the city on the weekend. I had seen that Jetsons documentary. One thing I never really believed in, though, was time travel. That was just stupid. We're never going to have that, not by 2000, not by ever. If you could travel to the future, there wouldn't be a present. Think about it. And traveling to the past? Well, I can sort of see the appeal of that on occasion, but that ridiculous rule of how you couldn't change anything, because then when you got back to the present, it would all be different. It makes no sense. Think about it. And what fun is that? That's why I'm going back in the first place, to mess around and act all superior like I'm from the future. That's like, all right, Larry, we're going to Disneyland, but you can't go on any of the rides. Oh, crap. I'll just stay here. The one thing I was really hoping for by the year 2000 as an 8-year-old was invisibility. I thought that would be cool. Some way that we could just become totally invisible. So here's the deal. I was thinking about this. You're invisible, which means you're still here, but no one can see you. In other words, you're still taking up some space. And who gets to be invisible? Well, I suppose those who could afford the technology. So you would always see poor people. Well, that doesn't seem fair. So therefore, we'd make it available for everyone. But if then everyone was invisible, how would that work? I concluded that once you were invisible, you could still see other invisible people. Follow me here. The visible could see the visible, but not the invisible. The invisible can see the visible and other invisibles. In other words, invisibles can see everyone. Maybe we are all already invisible. We just think we're visible because of the rule about invisibles seeing other invisibles. And invisibility would only apply to people, not animals or things. Don't want to be tripping over stuff all the time or attacked by a quiet, invisible bear. This one time at the supper table, I thought I had achieved invisibility. Turned out my parents were just ignoring me. As we got older, we were less and less fascinated by the year 2000, and actually I was more amazed at how fascinated I was by it when I was 8. As it drew near, it all seemed pretty uneventful, unless you count Y2K and the unfounded fear of everything on the planet crashing at once. That never happened. Although ever since then, my golf game has been going steadily downhill. Coincidence? I think not. We'd certainly come a long way. I had a cool phone, a computer, 4-slice toaster. Still no cake door in my room. That was disappointing. Oh yeah, we had those cool New Year's Eve glasses where the first 2 zeros were the eye holes and the 2 on one side and then the 0 on the other and then eventually another number. Those were good for about 10 years. Once the 21st century officially hit the following year, things really began to change. A lot has happened in this 21st century, hasn't it? And to hear more of this podcast, would everyone just send 1 penny to Larry Fedoruk, care of the Hey, do you ever wonder about the year 3000? Unless some miracle happens or they invent time travel, we won't be around to see it. But I feel confident in saying that as the world nears the year 3000, some 8-year-old somewhere will be asking, how come we don't have flying cars?
Thanks for listening to I Was 8, a weekly podcast voiced, written, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. This podcast is available on most major platforms, or check out the I Was 8 YouTube channel. Larry Fedoruk, that's Fedoruk, can be reached at larryfedoruk37@gmail.com.
So, 8-year-old Larry, what did you think of this episode?
Yes, too jokey.
Too jokey?
Yeah, too many jokes. Not enough story.
May I remind you that these are your jokes?
Yes, but you're the adult in this relationship. You're supposed to know better.
True, but much of what I am was formed in childhood.
So it's my fault?
No fault. I'm just saying, the jokes and the stories, good and bad, well, they belong to both of us.
You did ask.
Yes, I did ask. Hey, do you know what's ironic?
Hold on, I think I got this. No one can see us, but we're both actually here, and we can see each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, proving my theory. Sorry, our theory. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.